So BAPI is Business Application Programming Interface. If you take this API, what is API?
Application programming.
Application Programming Interface. This is very general, maybe a technology or maybe a general concept in any programming or any technology. If you take Java, .NET or anything, everyone will use some APIs. What is the use of this API? By using this API, we can execute a specific functionality, right? So to achieve that specific functionality, we can design that API. So that API will accept some input and it will return some output, or it will create data in the database for a specific business function. For example, creating a purchase order, creating a sales order, creating a material record. I can tell you one general example of API. If you take Airtel as example, Airtel company as example, so many of us are using Airtel network. So what we need to do, we need to recharge the mobile, right? Maybe if it is a prepaid connection or maybe a postpaid connection, we need to pay the bill, right? So when you are trying to recharge the mobile, you can see a lot of plans, right? You can see a lot of recharge plans. So you are going to search all the recharge plans and you are going to select one specific plan as per your requirement and you are going to pay the amount, right? When you are doing it from third party websites, maybe Paytm, PhonePe, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, how these third party applications are able to access Airtel recharge plans? Because Airtel has provided the access to read their recharge plans information from Airtel database, right? So all these recharge plans information will be available in Airtel database, in Airtel system database, right? But how these all third party applications are able to access those plans? Are they going to save those plans in their local systems, maybe in Paytm local system or Google Pay local system or Amazon Pay local system? Are they going to save these recharge plans locally?
No, sir.
No, because if Airtel changes the plans every day, maybe if they introduce a new plan or if they change the existing plan, every time there is some change, there is some manual process required, right? All these third party applications need to check with the Airtel system about the changes and they need to update their local systems, right, as per the changes. There is a manual process here that is also not reliable, right?
Yes, sir.
So to avoid that, what they do, they access the real-time plans currently available from our Airtel database, right? To access the Airtel database for these third-party applications, did Airtel provide database access to all these third-party applications? Are they going to provide the complete database access
Not the complete thing,
so
sir.
that all these third-party applications can enter into the Airtel database and check the data whatever they want? No,
No.
that should not happen because business data is very critical and very sensitive, right? They should not provide database access to the external systems, right? They should not allow them to access their database directly. So to avoid that, what they do, they design one API. API means application programming interface, which helps to access only the recharge plans, which reads the recharge plans from the database, and it will present the data to these third party applications, right? And that API can access only the recharge plans, no other database tables or no other data, right? So these third party applications can access only that data. They cannot access any other data, right? By using that recharge plans API. And for recharge, Airtel will provide one more API. By using that API, these third party vendors or third party applications can send the recharge information to Airtel, and that will be saved in the database, Airtel database, and that particular mobile number will be active. Once Airtel once the Airtel database receives that recharge information from the third party vendors, correct? And also Airtel provides a acknowledgement, right? Recharge successful acknowledgement also provides. All these functionalities will happen through some APIs. Okay? Even in your mobile phones also, lot of APIs will run in background to interact with the different systems. So BAPI is a kind of API. BAPI is a API method for SAP. What is the use of BAPI? BAPI is used to expose SAP data to the third party systems, or to share SAP data to the third party systems, right? Also, BAPI is used to create data in a SAP system, or change the data in SAP system, or delete the data in SAP system. So by using BAPI, we can read the data and provide the data to the external systems. Also, we can create the data in SAP, right? So there is a BAPI for sales order create. There is a BAPI for sales order change. There is a BAPI for sales order, maybe, yeah, we have delete also. So if you take any transaction, sorry, display, not delete. If you take any transaction, we have create, change and display, right? In BAPI also, BAPI is also going to support all these three functionalities. Creating the record, changing the record, and displaying the record, right? We have three different BAPI function modules for each requirement. So what is the type of object it is? BAPI is a remote enabled function module. If you know how to use function module, if you know how to call a function module, so BAPI is very similar. You need to pass the importing and exporting parameters, and you need to return the output. Okay. So I'm saying that BAPI is a RFC function module. Both are same. Both RFC function module and BAPI are same. Both are not same. Okay. Both are not same. So RFC function modules can be accessed in other SAP system using RFC destinations. But BAPI can be accessed in non-SAP systems also using some Java connectors, right? BAPI can be called in non-SAP systems also, right? The other important difference between RFC and BAPI is BAPIs does not contains exceptions. RFCs contains exceptions. If you just open any BAPI, so it starts with BAPI. All the standard BAPIs will starts with BAPI underscore. For example, bank create. To create the bank record display. If you go to exceptions, is there an exception defined here?
No.
This BAPI function module. Go to attributes. What type of function module it is?
Remote enabled.
Remote enabled function module. That means this function module can be accessed in other SAP system right? Using RFC connections. So these function modules can be executed in different system also, not within the same system. If it is a regular function module, we can call only within the same system. For example, 2021 system. We cannot execute the same function module from 2020 system. But if it is a RFC function module, we can execute that function module from 2020 also, right? To access data of 2021, right? To access data of 2021, we can execute this remote enabled function module in 2020 so that we can access data from 2021, any SAP data, right? And the difference, we don't have exceptions in BAPI function module, but we might have exceptions in RFC function module, right? Because RFC function modules can be called only within the SAP system. Why there is no exceptions in BAPI? When the third-party systems, non-SAP systems are accessing the BAPI function modules, if you raise any exception, they cannot understand the exceptions. Third-party systems cannot understand the exceptions. In SAP, we can handle the exceptions using sub-RC check, right? If sub-RC equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Once the function module call is completed, we can handle the exceptions using sub-RC values. But in BAPI, when it is called in third-party systems, they cannot understand what is sub-RC, right? In the third-party systems. So they cannot handle the errors. They cannot handle the exceptions. But how to handle the exceptions in BAPI? Maybe how to handle the errors in BAPI?
BAPI return pattern.
For that, we use a special parameter or special structure called return. In every BAPI, you can find this return parameter in exporting section. What is the type? BAPI ret2. The type of the return parameter is BAPI ret2. Double click on this. So it is a structure. What does it contains? Type. First field is type. What do you mean by type? Type of the message. Is it successful, error, or warning, or information, or abort? If there is any error in the BAPI function module, so it will populate type with E. If the record successfully created, it will populate the type with yes. Okay. So this is called message ID. Here, the message details will be populated. That error message or success message, right? When we need to consider the record is failed, when BAPI return message type is E. Okay. If it is yes, the record is successfully completed. If you observe the source code, did you find any difference between any function module? It is same as function module. No differences. Only thing here is for BAPI function modules, pass by value check should be selected. Pass by value, pass by reference. We observed at the time of creating subroutines. Okay. So here reference is not allowed. We should pass by value. All the importing parameters should be passed by value. Okay. It won't allow the reference. This is mandatory check for BAPI function modules. Okay. For all the importing parameters, you should select a pass by value check. Even for exporting parameters also, you should select a pass by value check. That is mandatory. Now, so the other difference is all the BAPIs will be available in a separate transaction code. All the BAPI function modules will be maintained in a separate transaction code. That is BAPI. What is the transaction code name?
BAP.
BAPI. All the BAPI function modules available in the SAP system will be maintained in the transaction code. So this is the BAPI transaction code. If you want to find a BAPI for the specific functionality, where you need to check in BAPI function module, sorry, in BAPI transaction code. Okay. For example, you have a requirement to create or to develop a program to create the sales order. To create the sales order. What is the standard transaction code to create the sales order?
VA0.
VA01 is the standard transaction code. What are the important tables related to sales order?
VBK.
VBAK, VBAP, and for delivery, LIKP and LIPS. And we have many other tables like VBFA for document flow and VBUK, VBUP. And yeah, VBUK and VBUP are obsolete. They are status tables. Sales order status tables. They are obsolete in S4 HANA. You can still see those tables, but no business data will be created in those tables because all the fields in VBUK and VBUP will be or VBUK and VBUP are merged into VBAK, VBAP, LIKP and LIPS. Okay, so they removed those two tables and the fields which are available in those two tables, right, merged into these four tables: VBAK, VBAP, LIKP and LIPS. Okay, so this, yeah. So if you want to create the sales order, you have if you have that requirement to create the program. So how can you select the process to create that record? So we have one option is BDC and the other option is using BAPI, right? What is the preferable approach to create the sales order? Maybe
BAPI.
first we need to check for the existing BAPI function modules. If the BAPI function module available, we have to use that BAPI function module. If the BAPI function module is not available, then we have to consider BDC. But first we need to make sure that no BAPI is available for that particular functionality. And where can you check the BAPIs available? In BAPI transaction code, you can see all existing transaction BAPIs, right? So now tell me, we need to create the sales order, right? So sales order process related to which module? Can you tell me?
SD mode.
Sales and distribution, right? You can see here. Expand this. So customer material info, there is one BAPI available. So this is a business object. If you go to sales, go to sales order. So it is one BAPI. Get status. BAPI sales order, get details. Similarly, we should have sales order to create the BAPI or change the BAPI. BAPI sales order change. So this BAPI is used to change the sales order. If you go to the documentation, it will provide the functionality of that BAPI. You can use this method to change or delete sales order. So you can use this BAPI sales order change to change the BAPI, sorry, to change the sales order or to delete the sales order, right? So here you'll be having a documentation on each BAPI. Where is create? We should have one BAPI for create also. So this is the BAPI to create the sales order with the DIA, right? This is another BAPI available to create the sales order. Go to logistics. BAPI material get detail. This is to read the material details. So this is to read the material details. So BAPI material availability. This is to check the availability of the material. If you go to documentation, you can check the documentation about that BAPI. Display, BAPI material display. This is also to display the material details. Similarly, BAPI is related to that functional domain, right? They'll be maintained here. Go to purchasing. So, if you want to find FI related BAPIs, this is controlling. This is FI. Financials. This is not the BAPI. This is a business object. So all the BAPI function modules will be maintained here. So first you can check here by that business functionality, and if the BAPI is not available, then you need to go for BDC. You can find the documentation also about each business object and each BAPI function module. Okay, the purpose of the BAPI and how you need to call that BAPI, right? I'll show you one simple difference between create and change BAPIs. So this is the BAPI to create the sales order, right? So if you see this, all the importing and exportings are in pass by value, and it is a remote enabled function module. If you see the importing parameters, observe the importing parameters of create BAPI. So we have these structures, right? Let me show you. So we have unique structure names. We have unique structure names, right? Structure names are not repeating. Importing parameter names are not repeating, right? Let me show you the change BAPI. This is the change sales order BAPI. Go to importing parameter. If you observe here, the importing parameter, you have two different names. One is order header underscore in, order header underscore in X, right? Did you observe this? In tables also, go to tables, order in X. Schedule lines, sorry, conditions in conditions X, extension in extension X. Did you observe this? What are these X structures? Double click on one X structure, order in and order X. Double click on one main structure. Observe the fields. How many fields we have?
220.
224. And observe the fields. First field is ITM number, HGLV item, PO item number, material. Here, the corresponding data element. Now let me go to the X structure. This one, X structure. Observe the fields. Field names are same, right? The X structure. Update flag, HIV, LV, PO item number, material number. Field names are same. But only one additional field is there, item number. But why we use this X structure? What is the use of this X structure? We have one main structure and corresponding X structure for change BAPIs, particularly for change BAPIs. Maybe purchase order change, sales order change, material change. You will be observing this X structures. What is the use of this X structure? So in a sales order, there will be many fields, right? Including quantity, delivery date, purchase order item, purchase order quantity, price. There are many items, right? Many fields will be there. But when you are changing the sales order, you are not going to change everything, right? You are not going to change every field of the sales order, right? Maybe sometimes you need to update the quantity. Maybe sometimes you need to update the price, right? You are going to change. You are going to change only that specific field. You are not going to change every field of the sales order, right? So when you are doing that, how can you specify that you are going to change only that particular field? How can you mark only that field you are going to change? That is by using a X structure. Okay? In X structure, in that corresponding field, for example, you are changing the material number. What you need to do? Populate the updated material number to the main structure. Here in material number, that material number you have to populate here, the new material number, what you need to change. And in this X structure, pass X for this material number, so that you are indicating that, hey, I'm not changing all of these fields, but I want to change only material number. By this X structure, you are going to indicate that. What is the value you have to pass here? X value, right? Whatever the fields you are going to change, you wanted to change. If you want to change the plant, pass X to this plant and populate the value, plant value in the main structure. This one, right? If you want to change the storage location, populate the storage location value here and pass the X to in X structure for storage location field. Okay, clear? When you are working with change BAPIs, right, that is very important. Okay, PO change. What is the use of this BAPI? This is to
Purchase.
change the purchase order, change the existing purchase order, equivalent to ME22N. Okay, same like ME22N. You can do manually in ME22N, but when you are doing through programs, or when you need to provide that the functionality for external systems to change the sales order, sorry, purchase order data. How can you provide that access to the external systems to change the SAP purchase order data? By providing this BAPI function module. So the third-party systems can access this BAPI function module and they can change purchase order data in SAP system, right? If you want to change purchase order data in program, you need to call this BAPI PO change function module in your program, right? So display this. What does this contains? This also contains the X structures, right? PO header and PO header X structure. If you want to change any header level data, what is the table for purchase order header data? What is the table for purchase order header data? EKKO. EKKO is the table for purchase order header data. What is the table for item level data?
EKPO.
EKPO.
We can be.
EKPO. For each purchase order record, we'll be having one record in header table, right? For each purchase order number. So that's why we have taken normal structure here with the X structure. If you want to change any header data, first you need to populate the new values. For example, if you need to change the company code, what you need to do? You need to populate purchase order number and company code, and if whatever the fields you want to change in the header data and populate, sorry, not this, populate X to this here. You need to populate X to this company code and purchase order number in X structure. If you want to change any item level data will contain multiple records, right? For each item, you'll be having PO item X. Populate the PO item and append it to this PO item internal table and pass the X structures to this X structures, right? If you want to change the material, populate the material in main structure and populate X value in X structure, so that only that material number will be changed. Not all the fields will change, okay? So that you don't need to execute unnecessarily. You don't need to check for all these other fields, right? So the BAPI function module will consider only the fields which is having X structures and they will be updated instead of updating everything, right? Clear? Is everyone clear? How we use BAPI X structures? Now shall we convert our BDC program into BAPI? Shall we convert that?
So,
Okay. So the function module we have, the BAPI we have to create the material is create or change. We have same BAPI for materials. F4. Create and change material master data. BAPI material save data. Display this. What are the importing parameters for this? We have a lot of tabs, right? When you are creating the materials, you can see a lot of tabs, right? Basic tab, view to planning, MRP. We have different tabs. So if you want to populate all the data, We need to populate data to all of these importing parameters. Okay. If you are populating only some header data basic view, you can take only few importing parameters. Let's try with a few basic details. Okay. First, call this BAPI function module in your program. I'll copy this program, BDC program, because we don't need to write that upload again, right? Upload is common for any method. File upload is common, right? Only difference is calling BDC. BAPI, copy it, copy all of them, local object, change it. Everything is common. So I have to take same data in the file, and I don't need BDC data structure, right? Because I want to use BAPI. BDC data structure is not required. File upload, is there any difference? F4, any difference is there? No, everything is common. Whatever related to BDC, remove that. What are we doing here? Populating the BDC data, right? Remove this. BDC insert is also removed. BDC close group also I am removing this, and I don't need the subroutines related to BDC. And what is the functionality I kept it here? Only file upload, right? By using Excel file upload function module. Now within the loop, instead of BDC, what I am going to call for each record?
BAPI.
BAPI. What is the BAPI? BAPI underscore material underscore save data. This is the BAPI to create or change, right? See, if you see here, all the importing parameters are automatically defined here, right? But we don't need all of this data because we are not going to work with all of this data. We are going to create some basic data, right? So keep whatever required and remove the remaining. Plant data we are not populating, right? We are not entering the plant data also, right? We are populating only industry sector, material type, unit of measurement, and material text, and material description also, right? So we need return parameter, and we need material description. You don't, or you can also define all of the required fields manually. Instead of going through this, you can also define your own importing parameters manually. Okay, but when you call the program, it is automatically displaying this. So what are the inputs we have to pass to this function module? First, let's check that. Go to importing. So header data. What does the header data contains? Double click on the header data structure. So it contains the material number, industry sector, material type, basic data view selection. These details are available in which structure? The details which were populating in the first screen: material number, industry sector, and material type. That is available in header data. What about unit of measurement? Unit of measurement is here. Unit of measurement is not in this structure. Where is it? Check it in client data structure. Material group is here. Yeah, base unit of measurement. Unit of measurement is here, right? MEINS. So we need to populate this structure also. What else we need to populate? Material text, right? We need to populate material text, right? Material text is not in importing parameters. Let's check in tables. Yeah, material description. It is available in tables parameter. Can you tell me why it is provided in tables parameter? Why it should be an internal table like structure? Why material description they are provided as an internal table like structure? In how many languages we can maintain the material description? Multiple languages, right? We can maintain the material description in multiple languages, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Yes, right? So to achieve that, to maintain the material description in multiple languages, so in this BAPI, we have an option to add or to append text in multiple languages. So we can create all languages text at once when we are creating the material itself. What we need to do when we are creating the material? We need to append all the required material descriptions to this structure, right? So for material descriptions, we need to use this structure. So we have a lot of other data. Depends on the requirement, we are going to use all of them. Okay. But for now, we'll see how to call a basic BAPI. Okay. With basic data. Now what we need to do in the program? We need to populate the data, right? To this importing parameters and tables parameter. Can you tell me what is the field name for material? Can you tell me what is the technical field name of material?
Map, map.
Matter, right? Let me go to this BAPI structures, BAPI header. What is the field name available here?
Material.
Material. So what is the field name for industry sector?
MBRS.
MBRSH, right? But what is the field name we are using here? IND sector, right? What is the field name for a material type? Technical field name? Or go to Mara.
M. Yes. Yes.
Material type is MTART. If you like, okay. Observe the BAPI structure, what they have maintained here. MA, yeah, material type, MATL type, right? Go to the client data. What is the field for unit of measurement here? Base UOM. What is the field we have in the Mara table? MEINs, right? Why there is a difference in the database table field names and BAPI structure field names? BAPI structure field names are in plain names, right? So everyone can understand, right? That these names, material group. If you go to your friend and tell him about MEINS, is he able to understand what is MEINS?
No, sir.
He doesn't know SAP. And if you go and tell him about MATKL, is he able to understand what is MATKL? No, right? Matner, if we specify about Matner, are they able to understand what is Matner?
No, sir.
So if they specify about material, if they talk about material, are they able to understand at least what is material or not?
Yes, sir.
They can know, right? At least they are familiar with that word, right? Material and material group, unit of measurement, industry sector. They are familiar, right, with those words, material type. They're able to understand, right? What is it at least? So why they have maintained these field names in the plain names? Because BAPI is going to consume by third-party systems also, right? Non-SAP systems also, right? BAPI can be used in non-SAP systems also, right?
Yes,
If they use technical field names,
Yes.
will they able to understand what is Matner? Will they able to understand what is MATKL? In their systems, they might use different field names in their databases. Certainly, they don't use Matner, MATKL, this kind of field names. These are specific to SAP, right? When they are doing the mapping between their system and the SAP system BAPI, they should be able to understand the each field name, right? What is it for, and what is the need of it? If you provide these details in SAP technical names, they cannot understand, right? That's why when you are creating BAPI function modules, it is always recommended to use plain names, names that can easily understand by other users, non-SAP users. Okay, clear? In SAP, whatever the interfaces or whatever the BAPIs you are designing, which are going to consume by third-party systems, so they should be in the names, the technical names should be in normal English language. Okay, they should be easily understandable for the non-SAP users. That's why in every BAPI structure, we define field names in these plain names, not SAP technical field names. Clear? That is very important thing we need to observe. Now, is everyone clear why we use how we design the BAPI structures? When you are creating your own custom BAPI, you need to keep that in mind. You need to use, you should not use technical field names. Now, populate the header data structure. I'm enabling this, or you can also define this manually. Okay, you know, right, how to define these parameters. Go and check the function module, importing parameter, copy this and come back and define one work area with the same type, right? You have to repeat the same for client data also. Client data is also a work area like structure, right? How do you know that this is a work area like structure? Is it a structure or a table type? It's a structure, right? So BAPI client data also a work area like structure. Copy this and define your own work area here. If you want to create your own work areas instead of using auto populated one, client data also, client data X, this is the work area. Return parameter, this is also required. How to define the return parameter? Go to the function module, check it in export. So you have return parameter here. Take this. Is it a structure or table type? Double click on this. It is a structure. So it is a single record work area like structure. So define one work area like structure. For example, WA underscore return, type BAPI return to. And how about material description? Material description is in tables, right? That means it is a internal table like structure, correct? Then you have to define, take this and define this as a internal table, type standard table of MAKT, correct? I'll keep all of them here. Now, what are the parameters you need to pass? Header data. For header data, we need to pass the header work area. First, we need to populate, right? For client data work area, and also X. Whatever the values you are passing, please pass X. For tables, I'll remove all these unnecessary importing parameters because we are not passing all the data. We are passing the return parameter, right? We are WA underscore return. So it will return success or error status. And we are not passing all of this. We are passing only material description in the tables parameter. Keep only that tables parameter. For example, I'll take this as IT underscore material text instead of this long one. IT underscore mat text. Okay. So we need to populate this internal table with all the material descriptions, correct? In different languages. So what is the structure of this? Let's observe this. What is the structure of this material description? BAPI underscore MAKT, double click. So we have language, material description, right? Deletion flag. What is the use of deletion flag? If you want to delete that material description, you have to pass the deletion flag. Okay. So it will delete that record with that specific language. Okay. We need one work area also for material description because we need to append, right? Multiple languages. Define one work area also. Type MA BAPI underscore MAKT. Is everyone able to follow? Am I doing anything different here? Calling function module, or is it anything new here? Is there anything new here when you compare it with calling function module? You need to identify the required importing parameters and exporting parameters. That's it. And you need to pass the data. So in between the loop and end loop, what you need to do? Pass data to the structures. What we need to pass to the header data? Hyphen material. You have to take field names just like this BAPI structures. What you need to pass here? Material number from file data. Matner. What is the next field you have to pass? Industry sector, right? MBRSH. But what we are maintaining in BAPI structure? IND sector. Material type. What about unit of measurement? Next one is unit of measurement, right? In the file, if you take this, so material completed, this one also completed. Next one is material text, unit of measurement. How to pass the unit of measurement? Unit of measurement is not in header data structure, but that is in client data structure, right? How to pass this? This one, base UOM, client data hyphen base UOM. We need to pass that. What is the work area we defined? Hyphen base UOM equal to UOM. So we populated all the data except the material text, right? We need to populate material text. So we have internal table and work area. First populate the material text to work area because we need to pass it as an internal table for the BAPI function module. Hyphen. What is the field name? Go to tables. We need to populate the language LANGU. This one equal to EN or SY hyphen language. It will populate the system language. What is the other? Material description equal to whatever the material description we maintained in the file. MAKTX. What next? Append this work area to internal table. If you want to create one more language, so clear the work area before that and populate new language, not system language. System language might be English, right? We logged in English. Let's try with DE. Populate material text in a different language, and I'll just add an additional text that is German. Okay. In what I'm doing here, along with the original text, I'm adding some additional text. I'm concatenating some additional text here. Okay. So similarly, if you want to upload, if you want to create material for multiple languages, you have to append each language, right? And pass this internal table to not MAKTX, right? What is the internal table name? Mat text. Pass that internal table to the here. That's it. So we populated the header data and we populated the material text and we populated the unit of measurement, right? Into client data structure. Now what next? WA data does not MAT, okay, it's not MATKL. Field name is different, right? MTART. We are not populating the material group. Check the syntax. Now how to check the errors, whether the record is created successfully or not. So instead of BDC, we are calling BAPI function module here. We don't need any screen recording. We just need to call the function module, BAPI function module. How do you know that the record is created successfully or not? So the status will be returned to this return parameter, WA underscore return, maybe return parameter, type BAPI return to, right? By checking this, so we can understand, okay, that particular record is created successfully or not. Okay. So how to check that? If WA underscore return, what is the, how can you know that that is successfully created or failed? By type, right? In return parameter, we have a field called type. Type equal to E. What does that mean?
If it failed,
Yes. Yep.
It is failed, right? For example, we'll just return some message. Else if the status equal to type equal to yes, what does that mean? Yes means it is successfully created. And also you can see the message. I'll show you when in debug mode. Also we can see the complete message inside the return parameter. If it is failed, it will also show the root cause of that error. It will show the error message also in the return parameter. You can also read that error. Okay, I'll show you how to read that error. Check the errors. Now activate the program. What is important? After processing all of them, right? Clear at the end. And at the end loop, clear whatever the structures we are using at the above. All the work area should be clear here, including return. And we need to clear the internal table also, material text internal table. Otherwise, what it will do? If we don't clear, what will happen? If we don't clear this material text internal table, what will happen? First, it will process one record and it will append these two languages to internal table, and it will create the material and it will process the second record. What will happen then? This internal table will always like in the previous execution for the previous record, two records are already appended to this internal table, right? Those records will be already there, and in addition to that we are going to add two more records, right? But the previous records are for previous material, right? We should not keep those previous material text in the internal table. We should clear that. So I'll keep one of the material unit of measurement as blank. Okay, I'm not populating the unit of measurement for one of the material. Let's see how the BAPI will process it. Now execute, select the file, BDC data, execute.
Sir, your voice is
Sorry, yeah. All the materials are filled with some required field, right? VALKUI. It is saying that that field value is required to process the BAPI. VALKUI. I'm searching in which structure it is. The field is what is it? Valuation structure, I think. Valuation key. Maybe I'll find it. I'll try to find. In the error, it shows that it is available in BAPI underscore Mara, right? In the same structure. So that should be available somewhere here. So BAPI is saying that we are missing one mandatory field to be populated. That's why it is not creating the material. Come on. So when you are executing the BAPI, right, when it returns the error, how can you find the root cause of the error? So in BAPI return parameter, it will return the error, including error message, right? What you can do? You can set the breakpoint at error message, right? You can set that particular breakpoint at error message. So it will stop there. Whatever the error message it will return, you can check that error message and you can keep a breakpoint there. BDC data. So this is the function module where that error message is rising. What I did here, I created a breakpoint at message, right? So if you want to observe the standard code, the root cause of the error in the standard code, so you can create breakpoint, go to breakpoints, breakpoint at you can breakpoint at message, and you need to enter the message number. It will stop there. Okay. So this process will execute for whenever you got the message, whenever it is rising from the standard code, and if you set the breakpoint on that message number, it will take you to that standard code. I'm closing this debugger session because I don't want to execute for all 12 records. So let me fix the error first. What it is expecting? It is expecting to populate the value key. SC38. Change the program. Find in which structure that value key is there. I think that is in a BAPI underscore Mara client data structure. This is the one, right? Purchasing value key. Pass some value to it. I'll take table reference. I'll check the table data. What is the values that is available for this? This one. I can populate any one of this value. I'll take 2. For example, I'll take 2 RPV. I'm not going to maintain it in the file. Let's say add it to the program as hard-coded value. Okay. We don't need to maintain it in the program. Client data, right? It is available in client data. I'll populate 2. I'll populate the hard-coded value. So what is the field name? Again, I forgot. Go to client data. PUR val key. This is missing. It is saying that it is a mandatory field. Equal to, I'll populate 2. Let's try now how the BAPI will work. Now process the records. Execute. If you know how to work with function modules, it is very similar. But only thing you need to know is what is the parameters you have to pass and how to handle the errors written by the BAPI. So first material is processing F6. Check the return. No, still there is a issue. Looks like it is not accepting the two. What are the other values we have? PV. Let's try PV. Let me execute this BAPI again. Go back. You can go back to the previous statement using go to statement. Now controller is at BAPI execution again. Go to client data and change the value. I'll change it to PV. Let's try PV. Is it going to accept this value or not? F6. Oh, it is expecting material group again. It is expecting material group now. Looks like for the combination of data what we are passing, all these fields are mandatory. Let me pass some material group in the debug mode itself. I'll pass some AR, maybe 111. Go to statement. I think material group is in client data. Let me pass material group. Let me execute it again. Now we'll see what is the data we have here. Okay, maybe I'm missing the X structure. Let me populate the X structure. Execute the FM again. Go to statement. F6. Now it is successful, right? The material 680 has been created. So we need to pass few more details like material group and val key, right? And we have to pass the X structures. That's what we are missing, right? If we change the program to pass all those values, it will create the materials. Now we have created one material. So what are the changes we need to do for the program? We need to pass the material group in client data. Pass the material group also. Material group equal to, I'll pass the hard coded values instead of maintaining it in the file. You know, right, how to maintain it in the file and upload. So for now I'm populating some hard coded values, and also it is not accepting PV. I'll pass PV. In the X structure, I'll pass ABAP underscore true for the client data, because for the client data we have X structure, right? Material group, UOM and PUR key. Okay, we are populating these values. Now execute the program. So first material is created, maybe it is updated. I told you, right? The same BAPI can be used to create or update the material. So in this case, it is updated because we created that material previously. F7. The second material 681. What is the status of this? This is also created. Second material also created 681. 682 next material. What is the status of this? Error. Why it is error? Because we did not maintain unit of measurement, right, in that file. We are not maintaining the unit of measurement in the file. That is mandatory value. That's why that material is failed. It did not create the, and in message you can check what is the root cause of it. It does not contain any entry for unit of measurement. Right? If you like, if you can display that message here, that makes sense. Okay. Now what we need to do, for example, we have an error right now. Now we have an error, right? Now if you want to know from where this error is rising, what can you do? You can set a breakpoint, create a breakpoint, breakpoint at this message number, right? You can create a breakpoint at this message number, and when you execute it, it will take you to the place where that message is being raised in the program, in the standard process. Okay, clear? So all the messages, all the materials are created except one, because there is no unit of measurement maintained. If you want to display the proper message which is returned by BAPI, use the return parameter message here, hyphen message. Now it will show whatever the message returned by BAPI function module. You can also capture all the errors into one internal table and display as output to identify the success records and failed records. So for second record, this is the error. Okay, so that by going through this error, you can fix the error and in the file, and you can reprocess the file again. So this is about BAPI. So we have to see more examples, how we call the BAPI and how we pass the data. Okay, like purchase orders, sales orders. For that, sometimes we need functional help. Okay, to create this BAPIs or BDCs, right? We need functional help to identify what are the parameters we need to pass, what are the mandatory values we need to pass. They have to let us know, because we don't have functional knowledge, right? We used to have only basic functional knowledge. So in these cases, in this case of conversions, you need to work with functional consultants to identify what are the parameters you need to populate, right? And you need to, sometimes you need to execute the BAPI. It depends on the errors. You need to check with them. Hey, I got this error. What is the data I am missing? And they can guide you to populate the missing data. Okay.